What happens when a racist cop crosses paths with a black woman who isn't just an ordinary civilian? At a quiet gas station, tensions rise and power is abused until the cop realizes he's dealing with a Secret Service agent. What follows is an intense showdown filled with ego, prejudice, and the struggle for accountability. This story will leave you questioning authority and the true cost of standing up for what's right. Subscribe now to join us on this gripping journey and never miss a powerful story like this. The gas station sat in eerie silence under the cold embrace of a midnight sky. Emily Williams pulled her sleek black sedan into the lot, the purr of the engine fading as she parked by the pump. She stepped out, her casual hoodie and jeans disguising the sharpness in her movements. A woman of commanding presence, Emily exuded an aura that demanded attention without asking for it. Beneath her composed exterior lay the instincts of a seasoned Secret Service agent. She scanned the area briefly, two parked cars, both empty, and a cashier inside glued to his phone. Routine, yet her training told her the most dangerous situations often masqueraded as mundane. She began to pump gas, her every move deliberate but unassuming. This wasn't just another night, it was her first reprieve after weeks of grueling operations. Across the lot, James Harper lounged in his patrol car, the engine humming softly as he tapped the steering wheel absent-mindedly, hoping for something to break the monotony of his shift. His eyes narrowed when Emily's car pulled in. The vehicle, pristine and undeniably expensive, immediately caught his attention. Harper watched as Emily stepped out, her calm, confident demeanor irritating him. In his mind, she didn't belong here, an outsider, too composed for someone passing through this forgotten stretch of town. His fingers tapped rhythmically against the wheel as he mentally constructed scenarios to justify his growing suspicion. She's too comfortable, he muttered to himself. What's she hiding? Emily moved toward the convenience store after refueling, her stride measured and unhurried. She passed through the automatic doors, heading straight for the drink cooler. Through the glass reflection, she caught Harper's patrol car creeping closer to the station entrance. She didn't turn her head. Years of experience had taught her that the moment you acknowledged unwanted attention, you gave it power. Inside his car, Harper leaned forward, his eyes locked onto her every move. He knew nothing about this woman, but her confidence, her apparent lack of difference, gnawed at him. She's hiding something, he convinced himself, his pulse quickening. Emily grabbed a bottle of water and a protein bar, approaching the counter and placing them down with a nod. The cashier barely acknowledged her, his focus still on his phone. Harper stepped out of his car, boots crunching against the gravel. Emily noticed the sound but didn't flinch. She calmly retrieved her wallet and handed the cashier a bill. Harper approached the store, his posture rigid, his presence commanding. The door's chime announced his entry. Emily's peripheral vision tracked him as he moved toward the shelves, feigning interest in the items but keeping her in his sights. The cashier looked up, sensing the tension. Harper's deliberate movements seemed less about shopping and more about intimidation. Emily turned toward the exit, water and snack in hand, but Harper stepped into her path. Evening, he said, his voice carrying a weight that made it clear this wasn't a friendly greeting. Emily met his gaze without hesitation. Evening, officer, her tone was neutral, unassuming, yet laced with quiet authority. What brings you out here tonight? Harper pressed his arms across his chest as he leaned slightly forward, attempting to assert dominance. Emily held up the bag in her hand. Getting gas, she replied plainly, and now I'm heading out. Harper's jaw tightened. He didn't like her calmness, it felt like a challenge. This isn't the kind of place people just pass through, he said, his tone sharpening. You sure there's nothing else you're here for? Emily raised an eyebrow, her patience thinning. Just passing through, she repeated. Harper stepped closer, invading her personal space. What kind of work are you in? He asked, his eyes scanning her casually worn clothes and straight posture. Emily didn't answer immediately. Her gaze was steady. Something that keeps me busy, she said finally, brushing past him toward the door. Hold on a second, Harper barked, blocking her way again. Got some ID on you? Emily paused, turning slightly. Emily met his glare without changing her expression, her eyes hardening. Do I look like I'm breaking any laws, officer? She asked, steady with a subtle challenge. Harper bristled, resting his hand on his belt. You look like someone who thinks they can walk into my town without explaining themselves, he shot back. Emily's lips curled into a faint smile, but it didn't reach her eyes. I wasn't aware fueling my car required an explanation, she replied. Tension thickened between them, neither moving. Harper tried to unnerve her with his authority, but Emily stood firm. Finally, he stepped aside, though his glare spoke volumes. Emily exited the store, placing her bag on the passenger seat before sliding behind the wheel. She started the engine but didn't drive off immediately. In the rearview mirror, she saw Harper watching her. He was convinced she was hiding something. As Emily pulled out, Harper followed her, convinced he would uncover her secret. Harper had stood at the gas station, puffing his chest as Emily moved toward her car. He blocked her path and demanded to know what she was doing. She replied calmly, "Stopped for gas, nothing more." He grew frustrated and demanded to see her ID, but she handed it over calmly. After inspecting it, he grew more irritated and ordered her to open the trunk. Emily folded her arms, her tone hardening. "Unless you have probable cause or a warrant, I'm under no obligation to comply." Harper tightened his jaw, insisting her refusal made her seem guilty. "Innocent of what?" she asked. "Just because I'm driving a decent car? Or is it because I don't fit the picture you had in mind?" Harper flushed but took a step closer, warning her to watch her tone. Emily didn't back down. "I've complied with everything, but if you escalate this, tread carefully." Harper called for backup, his tone dripping with arrogance. As he waited, a low rumble filled the air. Moments later, several black SUVs appeared, surrounding Harper and Emily. His confidence faltered. "What the?" he muttered. The SUVs opened in unison, and several figures in black tactical gear stepped out. Harper instinctively reached for his belt, but stopped when one man, Agent Foster, approached. "Agent Emily," he said calmly. Emily nodded, acknowledging him. Foster turned to Harper, his voice stern. "Is there an issue here?" Harper, confused, asked, "Who are you people?" Foster flashed his badge, United States Secret Service. "This is a federal matter." Harper, frustration boiled over. "I'm the law here," he snapped. But Foster coldly replied, "Not anymore. Stand down." Emily stepped in, warning Harper, continuing, "This will only make things worse for you." Harper scoffed. "I don't take orders from you." Foster, firm, said, "Step away." Harper hesitated but ultimately stepped back, glaring at Emily. The SUVs began to move and Harper stood fuming, determined to get answers. As Emily drove, she noticed Harper tailing her. Calmly, she activated a device that scrambled her car's tracking signals. Harper, determined, followed, his frustration building. As she navigated a winding country road, Harper struggled to keep up, skidding dangerously close to the edge. Emily then activated another switch, emitting a blinding flash of light, briefly disorienting Harper. Harper, undeterred, radioed for backup, but the dispatcher denied his request, stating it wasn't a priority. Ignoring the order, Harper pressed on, determined not to let Emily escape. Emily, knowing he would escalate things, planned her next move. As the road split, she swerved into the left lane, allowing Harper to catch up, then sharply cut across his path, forcing him to brake hard. This gave Emily the chance to get ahead. Emily pressed a button, sending a decoy signal to Harper's system, confusing his dashboard. Frustrated, Harper ignored it and focused on her tail lights. The highway grew more secluded, surrounded by trees. Emily, in control, spoke into her comms device. "This is Agent Emily. I need intervention." Harper closed in, overriding the decoy, and flashed his lights, demanding Emily pull over. Calmly, she kept driving, knowing backup was near. Suddenly, a convoy of black SUVs roared onto the highway, flanking Emily's car. One SUV blocked Harper, forcing him to slam on the brakes. Harper threw his car into park, fuming, and demanded immediate backup. The dispatcher ordered him to stand down, but Harper ignored it and stormed toward the convoy. An agent intercepted him, calmly stating, "This is a federal operation. Cease your pursuit." Harper, defiant, insisted he had a right to investigate. The agent replied, "Your right ends where federal jurisdiction begins." As Harper tried to push past, the agent firmly restrained him, warning him not to make things worse. Emily calmly exited her car, her composure infuriating Harper. The agent released Harper and told him to return to his vehicle. The convoy began to leave, with Harper standing alone, humiliated, watching as Emily drove off. Harper's frustration boiled over as he confronted Emily. "Pop the trunk or you're not going anywhere," he barked. The agent moved swiftly, blocking Harper's path. "You're obstructing a federal operation," he warned. Harper insisted, "I have the right to investigate this." He reached for his holster, but the agent's quick strike disarmed him, stunning Harper momentarily. "You're done," the agent said coldly, standing his ground. Harper fumbled with his radio, requesting backup, but the federal agents moved in with precision. One blocked his car, while another approached Harper, declaring, "You're being detained for obstruction." Harper shouted, trying to resist, but the agents disarmed him and guided him off the road. "You've lost control," the lead agent said, as Harper's radio crackled with an ominous message about unidentified vehicles in the area. Emily, calm and composed, stepped out of her car. "They're not here for you, Harper," she said, as 3 trucks barreled down the road. The agents readied themselves for engagement as men in tactical gear spilled out of the trucks. "You've got something we want," one said, smirking. Emily stepped forward, her tone icy. "Turn around and leave or face the consequences." The standoff broke with the sound of gunfire, escalating the tension. The scene erupted into chaos as gunfire rang out, and the agents quickly moved into formation to shield Emily. Harper, caught in the crossfire, was unprepared for the deadly turn of events. The attackers, armed with automatic rifles, flanked the SUVs, launching smoke grenades to obscure visibility. The agents scrambled to deploy countermeasures. Emily, unfazed, quickly issued orders and activated her EMP device, disabling one of the attackers' trucks. The firefight intensified with bullets flying as Harper, overwhelmed by the situation, froze behind his patrol car. Emily rushed to drag him to safety while providing covering fire for the agents. As the attackers advanced, Emily successfully neutralized 2 of them, clearing the way for her team to move. However, the leader of the attackers signaled for a ceasefire, demanding the black case in exchange for letting them go. Emily, unmoved, refused. The leader, undeterred, resumed the assault, and Emily realized the importance of neutralizing him to break the attackers' momentum. Emily moved swiftly to flank the leader, knowing that taking him out would disrupt their efforts. As she drew closer, the leader noticed her, and the confrontation escalated. Emily fought the leader in hand-to-hand combat, landing a decisive kick that took him down. As the remaining attackers hesitated, the agents quickly subdued them. Emily then prepared for the next challenge. Another convoy was approaching. The armored trucks advanced, but Emily deployed an EMP grenade, disabling the lead vehicle's cannon. Harper, initially frozen, finally shot an attacker who was flanking the agents. With the convoy circling, Emily ordered the deployment of another EMP. The battle was far from over, but Emily's team was holding strong. Harper had a rough night. After being forced to retreat from a standoff, he returned to the station, his pride shattered. His captain, furious, demanded answers for Harper's unauthorized actions that nearly sabotaged a federal operation. The captain made it clear Harper was on administrative leave. Sitting in the break room, Harper reflected on his mistakes, realizing his ego had driven him to make reckless decisions. Emily's words echoed in his mind. He prioritized control over protection. Determined to change, Harper went to the captain's office the next morning. He requested to file a full report, taking accountability for his actions. The captain, after a moment of consideration, agreed. Harper had finally faced the consequences of his actions. After a long night of mistakes, he had decided to take responsibility not out of obligation, but because it was the right thing to do. Meanwhile, Emily Williams sat in the back of the lead SUV, reviewing data from the mission. Despite their success, she couldn't shake the tension. Harper's reckless interference had nearly derailed everything. Her team had neutralized the immediate threat, but the risks were still high. Emily knew that local officers like Harper, blinded by their authority, were a liability. There were too many people like him who failed to see the bigger picture. She also warned that the mission's success was fragile. If the black case had been compromised, the consequences would have been catastrophic. The convoy arrived at a secure facility, and Emily oversaw the transfer of the case, ensuring everything remained intact. Back in the facility, the team regrouped, analyzing the attack. They found weaknesses in the attacker's approach and discovered possible insider involvement. Emily ordered an immediate investigation into the potential leak, stressing that every move was now being watched. The real threat, she said, was still out there, waiting for another opportunity. With the higher-ups needing a briefing, Emily emphasized that answers were needed first. As the team worked, Emily remained focused, reviewing every detail of the operation. The night's events had been dangerous, but the real battle was just beginning. The fallout from the incident spread quickly, with local and national media covering the story. It became another example of law enforcement overreach. Headlines focused on Officer Harper's reckless decisions, highlighting how his ego jeopardized a federal operation. The footage leaked online, showing Harper demanding to see the case while Emily remained calm and composed. The public reaction was swift, with outrage building over his actions. As the story gained traction, it exposed the dangers of unchecked authority and raised questions about accountability in law enforcement. Harper, meanwhile, was grappling with the aftermath of his actions. He had begun advanced training in an effort to correct his mistakes and better understand his role as a cop. Through this training, he started to see how his own biases had influenced his behavior. One night, during a routine patrol, he responded to a call about a suspicious individual. Instead of rushing to assert control, he approached the situation calmly, offering to wait with the young man until his sister arrived. This small act of compassion marked a turning point for Harper. It reminded him that being a police officer was about service, not power. The incident with Officer Harper sparked a media frenzy, with the public demanding accountability. Community leaders like Carla Monroe led the charge, calling for systemic change. Harper, feeling the pressure, attended a community forum where he admitted his mistakes and expressed his commitment to change. He shared that he had started advanced training to address his biases and improve his approach to law enforcement. The community, initially angry, began to shift toward action, with new policies introduced emphasizing accountability, including mandatory body cameras and bias training. As weeks passed, Harper worked to rebuild trust. He volunteered for community outreach and collaborated with officers who shared his commitment to reform. His actions slowly began to bridge the gap between the department and the community. One evening, while patrolling, he joined a group of kids playing basketball, momentarily lightening the burden of his past. Meanwhile, Emily Williams, continuing her federal mission, reflected on Harper's growth, acknowledging that while people like him don't always change, when they do, it matters. Harper's journey, though difficult, was far from over, and he knew he had a long road ahead to prove his commitment to true change. In the morning briefing, Captain Reese addressed the team, acknowledging the fallout from Harper's actions. Harper has owned up to his mistakes and is making an effort to improve, Reese stated. That's more than most people would do. He turned to Harper, saying, "You've got a long road ahead, but you have a chance to make this right. Don't waste it." Harper nodded, determined. After the meeting, Harper approached Officer Martinez, who had been critical of him. "I know I've lost your trust, but I want to earn it back," Harper said. Martinez crossed his arms. "Talk is cheap, Harper. Show me," he replied. Weeks passed and Harper dedicated himself to change. He attended neighborhood meetings focused on de-escalating situations and prioritized communication over force. One evening, during a domestic disturbance call, Harper mediated a tense standoff between a landlord and a tenant. Instead of escalating the conflict, he listened and facilitated a compromise. The landlord shook Harper's hand, thanking him for handling the situation calmly. Harper felt a quiet sense of pride, a reminder of why he joined the force. Meanwhile, Emily sat in a conference room preparing for her next mission. "Do you think Harper will change?" Foster asked. "I don't know," Emily replied, "but he's trying, and that's more than most people do." Months later, Harper received an email about a federal collaboration opportunity. It mentioned Emily as one of the advisors. Emily smirked when she saw his name in the email. "Looks like we might cross paths again," Foster noted. Emily smiled faintly. "If we do, let's hope it's on the same side this time." From this story, we learn that perseverance and the ability to face difficulties can lead to significant change. The story emphasizes the importance of confronting oneself, acknowledging mistakes, and then learning and growing from them. If I were the protagonist, I would continue fighting for justice, not only in my work but also in daily life. For me, change doesn't stop at one confrontation. It is a never-ending journey. However, will racism be eradicated by 2050? While we can hope and work towards change, I believe it will take a lot of time and effort from everyone to make this a reality. Racism is not just an individual issue but a societal one, and only when everyone works together can we move toward a future without discrimination. Note: this story is entirely fictional and created for the purpose of raising awareness. It highlights issues of responsibility, justice, and the importance of treating everyone with respect and dignity. We firmly oppose violence, prejudice, and injustice in all forms. Viewer discretion is advised.